Finally, the Broncos got their quarterback of the future, the chef himself, Russell Wilson. A lot of people have been saying for the past year or two that Denver was a quarterback away from being a true contender. Well, we're about to find out if that's actually true. The Seahawks got a solid return in exchange for Wilson and a 4th-round pick, getting Drew Lock, Noah Fant, Shelby Harris, 2 1st-round picks, and a 5th-round pick. Wilson is a huge get for the Broncos, without a doubt, getting a guy that in 10 years made 9 Pro Bowls, won a Super Bowl, against the Broncos nonetheless, and had more wins than any quarterback in NFL history in their first 10 seasons. The dude is insane. Clearly, Wilson had interest in Denver too, because he had to waive his no-trade clause, and they were reportedly his number 1 option. The Broncos have been looking for their next quarterback since Peyton Manning retired, and Denver has had some good teams over the years. They just haven't had the elite passer behind center that they need to win games. The Broncos are in win-now mode, and so is 33-year-old Russell Wilson. Wilson had plenty of weapons in Seattle like DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett on the outside with Chris Carson in the backfield. But now he gets to join a good offense that has Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton, Tim Patrick, and KJ Hamler, along with young stud Javonte Williams at running back. Throw in new head coach mastermind and Nathaniel Hackett, and the Broncos are in a good spot to win. Hackett spent 3 years in Green Bay under Matt LaFleur, where he helped Aaron Rodgers win 2 MVPs while running that insane Packers offense. The Broncos are no doubt going in the right direction, and their odds to win the Super Bowl skyrocketed after trading for Wilson. But the Seahawks, well, they're headed in a completely different direction. On top of trading away their franchise quarterback, Seattle released cornerstone Bobby Wagner on the same day. Releasing Wagner saves $16.6 million, and releasing Wilson saves $11 million, but does include $26 million in dead cap, the second biggest dead cap hit in NFL history, behind only the Eagles' $33.8 million when they traded Carson Wentz. Wilson has 2 years and $51 million left on his deal, giving the Broncos at the bare minimum a 2-year window to win a ring with Wilson. This is a great ass move for the Broncos, who were definitely the worst team in the AFC West last season, although they started off the season pretty damn hot, considering their quarterback was Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock throughout the season. So I really felt like last year they really were a quarterback away from being a threat in that division. Not that I don't like Teddy Bridgewater, but I feel like we can all agree that he just wasn't enough to help take the Broncos over the top like they needed to. They're in an extremely tough division with the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Raiders, and them. It's just, this is going to be one of the toughest divisions in football. There's no doubt in my mind that Russell Wilson is going to ball out in Denver this next couple seasons. And I don't seem to be the only one that thinks that, because if you watch Nathaniel Hackett when he introduced Russell Wilson to the team, it was pretty funny. The man was pretty hype, and that definitely makes me excited for it as well. Russell Wilson is by far one of the most talented quarterbacks I've ever watched in my entire life in the NFL. He is one of the deadliest deep balls I've ever seen, and at 33 years old, the guy can still move and escape the pocket and extend plays with his legs, which is definitely something more modern day quarterbacks are trying to do more often. He was definitely the missing piece for this team, but something I'm definitely interested in watching is how the interaction between new head coach Nathaniel Hackett and Russell Wilson was. It seems like back in Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers had a lot of jurisdiction over what he wanted to do with the offense, and he seems like he was pretty in control of that system. So I'm interested to see if Russell Wilson gets that same treatment, or if he's going to be a little more hands-on with Russell Wilson and try to control him a little bit more. I would imagine Russell Wilson will be able to work through whatever's thrown at him, but regardless, getting a new head coach for a team is always worrisome to an extent, because in the past, you definitely needed to give the new head coach a year or two to really start seeing some success. But considering Russell Wilson only has 2 years left on his contract, Denver needs to start winning now. There's no time for Nathaniel Hackett to start to develop as a head coach. He needs to come in and inspire this locker room and help them win games on day one. And that's a big ask for a new head coach. So I definitely think I'll be keeping my eye on that situation. With all that being said though, I do think the Broncos have a really good team. I think the Broncos wide receiver core, while they don't have a specific one guy that I would say is similar to DK Metcalf. I feel like their wide receiver core is a little more well-rounded than Seattle's was. I have a hunch that Jerry Jeudy is going to have one of the best seasons of his entire career next season, just because he's played well with some lackluster names at the quarterback position. And now that he gets a guy that is going to be, pretty damn good, I think he's going to get fed a lot. With that being said, I wouldn't be surprised if Courtland Sutton had the season of his career as well. We've seen in the past that Courtland Sutton was able to put up some pretty good numbers with Drew Lock throwing the ball to him of all people. So with Russell Wilson behind center, considering Russell Wilson is about 70,000 times more accurate than Drew Lock, I'm excited to see these wide receivers get some play with a really capable quarterback. So long story short, the Broncos offense is going to be very good next season. And honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if it's good enough to win them the division. Moving on from Lock and Bridgewater were two very necessary steps that the Denver Broncos needed to take if they wanted to take that next step to try to be able to be a contender. And with Russell Wilson, I think they are. I would have said that I thought the Chiefs still rule the AFC West even after all of this free agent frenzy, but with Tyreek Hill going to Miami, I think that the Denver Broncos have a serious shot at taking the division and making it deep in the playoffs. And now that they have a quarterback that not only has postseason success, but Russell Wilson has won a Super Bowl before. So once they get into the postseason, they can have the security that they have somebody that is able to handle those big moments because they're a proven winner. With that being said, the road to the top is not going to be an easy one. It seems like every Pro Bowler ever that was up for free agency this last offseason went to the AFC West. The Chargers built up their defense, the freaking Raiders got Devontae Adams, and while the Chiefs got a little bit weaker, they're gonna be good because they always are. So this division isn't a slight, let's just go ahead and give them the top of the division, because I feel like this could go any way. Honestly, I think the Raiders are the fourth best team in this division, and anywhere else in the NFL, they would be like the number 2 in any other division. I will say this though, this is probably the best team that they have to be able to compete for a championship. And like I said, with only 2 years with Russell Wilson, unless they, extend him, I think it's going to be dire for this team to have everything go right. And that's really hard to do when you have a new head coach. Like I said, I think everything is going to work itself out, but Denver Broncos fans have definitely been hurt for too long after the retirement of Peyton Manning, and you guys deserve a really good season. So I'm going to be rooting for you guys this season, especially for Russell Wilson, and I'm just excited to see how insane this offense is going to be because the passing attack is probably going to be one of the best in the NFL this next season. So I guess we'll see how deep the Broncos can go next season, but for now, all we can do is speculate.